Orion Shard. I knew that Corsair looked familiar. You once offered that I might reach out to you. I am humbly requesting the New Republic to send a patrol.
I get the gist.
They have yet to sign the charter. They're not a member planet.
Uh-oh. It's not good.
Coming to help!
How can you be so
I have
sure?
sent a message to the New Republic.
The question we should be asking ourselves is why? Why should we lay our lives down yet again? Because we are Mandalorians.
Hi, Magistrate. Grief Karga. Hereby cede all land from the western lava flats to Bullock Canyon. To the fine people of Mandalore, you may no longer have a home planet. But you do now have a home. Welcome.
It's a fragment of Beskar alloy.
Are you saying that Moff Gideon was taken by Mandalorians?
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Black and White Reviews. I'm Lee.
And I am Will.
And I am going to take over for Chuck as well. I mean, he's not here. I was not here last week. So we're taking shifts.
Sure.
So, yeah.
Before we hit record, you said you were really annoyed with what Chuck and I did last week. So
no, it's every time, and I feel like somebody has to step in and be like, oh, come on, guys, no. No, there are a few things I want to say. So I'll get into that after I kind of give my feelings on just kind of where we're at right now with The Mandalorian. So I know I've mentioned it before. This season is just garbage compared to the first two. I mean, there's not really a way around it. I'll keep saying it, like they just don't know where they're going.
No idea.
It's not that we don't know where they're going. It's just that they don't know where they're going. And the only excuse I can come up with is that they're just using this season to set up other spinoffs.
It's possible.
And it's the only explanation I have, because introducing the Purrgil in episode 1 with, the space whales, and like all the stuff with Bo-Katan, all the stuff with the Adelphi Rangers, and then, again, the Purrgil thing's all about Thrawn, so that's all Ahsoka, because she was the first one to bring up Thrawn in anything live action. I really feel like all they're doing right now is really just pushing to say, okay, yeah, Mando started this whole thing, however, we're going to go in different directions, so let's just give them a season because they've all been asking for it, but we're going to use this opportunity to set everything else up. That's the only explanation I can have.
It seems like the
writing is garbage otherwise.
The weeks that we've been the 4 episodes that we've done so far, everything that you and I said in the premiere is like just ringing home. How we were both on the same page with everything the show has been doing so far. And I said it then, I'll say it now. I see the Disney machine on full display. I am in complete agreement with you. It feels like they're just setting up, future shows, future films, whatever nonsense they are going to do. And last week, again, like a 30-minute episode where almost nothing happens except for pterodactyls. It's like, so I do want to start there, get your thoughts on that since you weren't here last week. I mean,
yeah. So part of my notes were listening to your podcast and then like just writing a couple of key things that were valid, and taking some additional notes and bringing up some other valid points. So yes, weird pterodactyl creatures stealing a kid, flying off. They saved the kid. End of the episode. That's pretty much all that we got. The one thing that's very clear, we've always said, wow, Boba Fett's got a jetpack. How cool is that? And all we see is him kind of jump from one place to the other really quickly, and that's that. And the next thing we see of a jetpack being a jetpack is Din Djarin like grabbing Grogu and then flying up to a ship. Later at the end of season 1? Yeah, at the end of season 1. He flew up to the end on Navarro and all that. Yeah.
Okay.
He flies away with Grogu, and that's okay. That's what happened there. So
Mhm.
we get to see a jetpack being a jetpack. Now we have all these Mandalorians, and they all have jetpacks. Disney is just trying to say, hey, jetpacks are finite. Like their fuel is finite. They can't last. They need something better than jetpacks. So they're moving on to now raising these winged creatures that they will eventually ride and
Okay.
have as something better. So I get that, but it's like, wow, what a way to just sit there and just like throw the jetpack out the window. Like, yeah, it's great in short bursts, but it's not the best. We're gonna move on to them raising weird dragon, pterodactyl things.
Maybe we'll have an
It's
episode where they dig for oil because
yeah, yeah. So I mean, that's what they're doing there, and that makes more sense because jetpacks are just proven to be unreliable. They're cool when they work. I mean, that scene where he jumps out of her ship and then you know bursts it really quick, then rolls off, hops in the N1, flies away. Like that, we talked about how great of an opener that was for like
yes.
any episode, and so far that is still the highlight of this entire season. Um, because all we've had after that is Swamp Thing, or Davy Jones, as you
Davy
guys call
Jones,
him.
which
And
is no
I mean,
more.
it's just like, yeah. So you never know. Yeah.
I,
So he's
I
in the locker.
I will also say, like, you put a lot of faith in these jetpacks. I'm, for one, am willing to see them go, because last week, when they had the jetpacks, they still weren't doing all that great against the Beast. You saw, I don't know if it was Bo-Katan or it was just another Mandalorian, but literally...
Let me correct you on that too, because you said it multiple times. Her name is Bo-Katan Kryze.
Bo-Katan.
Not
Bo-Katan Kryze,
not
fine.
not Ahsoka Tano.
Yeah, I'm getting them confused, obviously.
Yes, you are.
But you saw Bo-Katan. I don't know if it was her or it was another Mandalorian, but the pterodactyl beast creature just swatted her away with the wing like it was absolutely nothing. No problem at all.
Yeah.
So the jetpacks, ineffective? I don't know. I
Well,
don't know.
yeah. I mean, the way that they explained how the jetpacks work, didn't they at one point say just think about it? Or he told Grogu, just think about what you want the rockets to do, or the gun to
Yes.
do, and it'll do
Yes.
it. It was like, so that's how the jetpacks work as well. It's like all of their technology is all just like sensing and feeling and commanding it, and
Sure.
it's like, okay. I mean, they kind of explained it by just saying that throwaway line, but the reality is, I guess if you get knocked in the head and you're unable to like focus on what you're doing, you really have to focus and not just press a button. I can see how that could just knock her off kilter and into the water, but whatever. I mean,
Okay.
yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah. So there's that. Mike, here's a big question I have. Now I know that we were going back and forth on the whole like she said, "Have you removed your helmet?" Not has anybody seen your face? I'm done having that argument back and forth. I know you and I were on the same page there, and it was Chuck who was, basically saying, "No, she never said that." I'm like, "Well, she did say it." And he's like, "Yeah, but she meant this." I'm like, "But she didn't say that." So
It's
the
all for
whole
nothing,
point was
though. It's all for nothing
it's all
now.
it's all for nothing. It's all stupid. The point is, I get it here. We get to the point where it's like she just didn't choose her words wisely. She was saying things being cryptic. And again, I think this also comes down to they just didn't know what they were doing and they're changing the lore as they go, it seems. It's like, well, we didn't say this and it could have meant this, so therefore we could do what we want.
It's a ridiculous argument to have now. It makes everything that we talked about with that completely irrelevant because now they've set up the MacGuffin. So now if Bo-Katan just wants to say, "Hey, I'm your leader now. No more helmets. Do whatever." Okay, fine. Like you just said, they're changing the lore as they go, and I fully expect something like that to happen. We went through this entire story arc of her having this emotional connection and like reuniting with her people essentially, and like we're building her to be the leader. Like that's what we're doing. And the whole thing about her helmet, and she doesn't know how she feels about it, and the whole scene where she's by the fire. Oh, you could sit by the fire and you can nothing. It's all out the window now. We're not.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely.
Completely gone, completely irrelevant.
Right. Yep. Which we'll get into. But here's my question. We've got Paz Vizsla. Now, I know I mentioned to you before about who he was. Like, Tar Vizsla was the head of the Death Watch, which is what the sect kind of became over time. They were like a bad group, a bad crew of Mandalorians that were just like radical rebels, like rebels against like the Mandalorians that were peaceful people. So it was like, why are you whatever? They were bad guys. So My question is this: he has a son.
Yes.
Okay, so he has a son. Where's the son's mother?
Yeah.
We don't know. Maybe she died in battle. How did they have a kid
Well,
with their helmets on?
when a man
I
and a
mean,
woman love each other, I mean, do we really have to
with
get
their
into this?
with their helmets on?
Maybe they had the child before he decided to commit his life to Mandalorian.
But he's Paz Vizsla.
I-
I don't think it was before. The kid was like 8.
Okay.
And I'm just saying, really?
Okay, this
Helmets?
makes okay.
Full helmets? Like, just, what's acceptable? What's
the visual,
allowed?
the visual,
I don't want the
of
visual. I just
the
want
helmet.
to understand. I just want to understand. I just really want to understand.
I have nothing for you here. That's where I was going.
Okay.
That's what I thought. But
Okay.
if you're telling me that this person has been a Mandalorian for much longer than 8 years, then yes, just the helmets.
Yeah. Yeah. So at one point, I'll just say that I just thought it was weird. The other thing is you said something about they're gonna ride these things around like a bantha. You said like Boba Fett, like a bantha, and I'm like, no, not like a bantha. Boba Fett rode a Rancor. It was the Rancor that he. Oh, no, you were talking about the Mythosaur.
It was
She's
a
gonna ride
joke.
the Mythosaur. I know,
Like a
but it was
bantha.
the Rancor.
It was the joke.
I,
It was
I know, but it's the Rancor that he rode that
Fine.
was like another myth type thing. So yeah, if it was a bantha, I'm all for it. Yes, funny joke, but technically it was a Rancor.
okay.
And I never said that most of the cities in all the galaxy are floating.
I spliced in
I never
your audio into the video. It's there for all to hear.
But
You
here's the
said
reality.
most of the cities are floating.
I said most of the cities that we've seen, a lot of them that we have. Now, I didn't. Now, think about this. He's going, where was Yoda? I'm like, not in a city. He was in a swamp. You know, like, you can have all these things. Where was Tatooine? Yeah, a desert. But all of these thriving cities are floating. So let's get into, let's actually get into here the reality of Coruscant. So Coruscant, um, Monument Plaza, which we saw in that other episode, is home to the last remaining mountain peak of the planet. Now, this is not just made up there. It actually is part of the extended universe that was brought up. So this stuff was actually written. Coruscant was introduced. Obviously, we never heard about it in the original trilogy, but we did hear about it in the prequel trilogy. Now, the prequel trilogy was considering stuff that was in the extended universe, which most of it, or some of the best of it, was written by Timothy Zahn, who did the Thrawn trilogy. Now, there's a whole thing about this, and yes, the reality is this planet, although we saw them running down on streets, the streets are floating streets. So it's actually, there are different levels of living on Coruscant. There's like the underworld, then there's like the mid, and then there's the upper crust that are high up in the clouds type people.
Okay.
So it really is, that is accurate.
Okay.
A lot of really interesting things about that. I mean, obviously we know it's not the center of the universe, but they basically say that it might as well be. You know, and it's just like a whole bunch of ridiculous things that were coming up about it. But one thing I thought was actually kind of cool is all the weather on Coruscant is actually artificial. So they actually create the weather.
That's weird.
Because of, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of really weird things, but Coruscant is a really pretty. It's a pretty cool place, and if you don't really know much about it, you know, you'll make comments and claims like Chuck did. But the reality is, yes, that does make sense. It is a floating city. It's
Okay.
just that we've seen multiple levels of this city, and that's just how civilization is because of the advancements in technology. People did live above, and you know, when we see deserts and swamps and things like that, or Hoth, you know, like a terrain like that, which is basically a big snow desert. Yeah, we're seeing mostly the actual ground, but in many cases, the people who are rich live up above, and they don't ever really touch the ground. So it's kind of a class thing.
Yeah.
So as the cities grow and get bigger and bigger, it rises up, and a lot of it's for sustainability as well, not just anything
What am I
else. Like
thinking
the
about?
land is no longer great for it, but
I'm thinking about a movie. This was in a movie.
oh yeah,
Where the upper
it's
class
called
lived.
Star Wars.
No. Matt Damon.
Oh, Elysium.
Elysium, yes.
Yeah, I fell
Where they
asleep
just
in
kind
the
of lived
theater to
off
that one.
world.
Yeah, yeah. There's that. Oh boy. Anyway, I wanted to bring those few things up because I'm listening to it going, yeah, there's truth there. And then I did appreciate you backing me up about my knowledge of the extended universe. And it's a lot of it's actually not even just from reading the books, but watching the shows, and then just doing research to pick things up. Like if I get confused about something when anything new is brought up in Star Wars, I tend to do some research on it and look it up first. But
Well, no, I'm
yeah,
not. I mean, I'm not going to be arrogant enough to think that I know more about Star Wars than you. And I was very quick to correct Chuck on that as well. I think
yeah.
it's you are the resident Star Wars person. I have no qualms about that. So, yeah, I wasn't gonna leave you out.
Well,
to-
I stopped trying to learn Huttese, so that's good. Um, Oh, did I send you guys
Okay.
the meme of you've seen that meme of it shows like an old lady and she's walking and then like the nurse is helping her out and she's like, that's great, let's go take a nap, like they say something
Yes.
ridiculous. Did I show you the one with Watto?
No.
So it shows Watto as the old lady and he goes, I used to own Darth Vader. That's great, Watto. Now let's get you to bed. Anyway.
Okay.
All right, so I think I kind of know where you're at here. You're at the same place with this episode. I mean, how'd you feel about this episode, kind of in general? I mean, we'll say compared to the last few episodes, what were your thoughts?
Same. It's rinse and repeat. Mission,
Yeah.
new thing, next chapter, next obstacle that's in the way. I said all that. I said all that in the opener. I'm saying it all now. I still feel the exact same way. It's just one thing after another with nothing. It almost feels like there's no cohesion between these episodes. Just like where we're just throwing everything against the wall and we're gonna see what sticks. I completely agree with you in terms of they're just setting up future shows, future movies, what have you. I don't I don't understand why it's being done this way. It makes almost no sense to me at all.
Yeah.
The whole removing the helmet thing really bothers me because it was like the
Yeah.
one thing that I thought was going to be really cool about this season is Bo-Katan finding her purpose or her place again and like reconnecting with becoming a Mandalorian, and then you get the whole thing with the Mythosaur and being on Mandalore, and then all of a sudden it's just all for naught. Let's just throw it out the window. Yeah, go ahead, take your helmet off. Why? It completely renders everything else that we saw obsolete. It almost doesn't even matter. So it
Well,
it
the
leaves a
only
really bad
argument I
taste
can
in my mouth. So
I would agree with you normally. And I would agree with you mainly because it seems like they're doing the exact same thing they did with Grogu at the end of 2, and then bringing him right back in Boba Fett. And you're
yeah.
going, but we already moved past this. Like, why would you say this and then go back?
That's different because it's over the course of 2 seasons where you get that. Like you get
Yeah.
a lot of breather room. This was undone in a matter of 1 episode.
Now, the only reason I would back it up, and it's because somebody has to,
Fine.
is that's where you get the line at the end of the episode where she says, "You have walked both worlds," because she showed that she could walk in that way, keep her helmet on, and live in the way that they follow. But she also has walked in the other way and has the ability to understand both cultures, so she can unite them. That's the only thing I can kind of squeeze out of it and say, fine,
Okay.
I'll justify it. Yeah.
Okay. I still don't
Eh.
like it.
I know. I don't like it
Because
either.
you
I'm
can
just
say-
justifying it.
You could say the same thing about Din.
Mm-hmm.
He took his helmet off. People saw his face.
Uh-huh.
He arguably still walked the way even after doing that. I don't know. And if we're not going to
Yeah.
give him the excuse, why I'm not going to give. I don't know. I just don't
yeah,
like that. I think it's sloppy writing. I think it's really sloppy.
Yeah.
But that's all.
I agree.
That's it.
I agree, which is what brings me back full circle to what I was saying in the beginning. I really feel that they're just using this as a launching point for other spin-offs
Possible.
that we know are
It's
coming.
absolutely possible.
It's just kind of like the the anchor point for everything. So it's like, hey, let's make sure we introduce this all from the Mandalorian, not another spin-off of a spin-off. Because a copy of a copy of a copy ends up being pretty garbage.
Yeah.
So Anyway.
Hey everybody, Lee from Black and White Reviews here. Just wanted to take a moment to thank you for tuning in, checking out our conversation. If you like this discussion and you want to hear more about this specific subject or other things, check us out on our podcasting sites, whether it's Spotify, Apple Music, or Google Podcasts. We're up on pretty much all of them. So yeah, thanks again for popping by, and yeah, be sure to like and subscribe. Thanks.